Zoom recording. Okay, we're back flashing. All right. Good evening, everybody. I put out the agenda today, and Rod said be quick, so I will be. We're starting right on time. Our first and most important is our prayer concern for Sarah and Horace. You know that Horace has been battling cancer for a while now. That seems to be under control, but he's having surgery, I believe, tomorrow for a broken hip. And so I talked with Sarah today, and she asked that we keep her and him in our prayers, and we will certainly do that. I don't know, most all of us at our age are ailing now, and so I guess it's just prayers for everybody.
Dale, could you send us an address where we could send maybe a card to Sarah, please?
Yeah, I went by this afternoon to see Seth to get that, but he and Wendy, but they weren't in. I will certainly work on that tomorrow. I had that on my list to try to do today, but they weren't in, and so I will certainly follow up with them tomorrow. But I'll try to get an address that we can send a card to Sarah and Horace.
I've got the address.
Do what? I'm sorry.
I've got the address.
All right. If you could email that to me, I'll email it out with the video tonight.
Okay.
Thank you. There's been a lot of consternation over the commencement activities, and that's because the new president has a different vision for graduation and commencement. And so I put out, Dr. Bull has put out, I've put out clarifications, and so let me go through that quickly. This year, our add-on licensure people, and there are 50 of them, they're invited to the undergraduate pinning ceremony, as are you, on Thursday, December the 12th at 6 p.m. They will not get pinned. They are not undergraduates. We'll call their name, and they'll walk across the stage, and we'll hand them their certificates, which are supposed to be here by December the 9th. They can also, they can't, as usual, they can't participate in graduation, but they are also invited to the reception at noon following 10 o'clock graduation on Saturday, December the 14th. We'll have the regular graduation. We don't have any this time, but we will be at the reception over at Tucker afterwards, handing out their certificates. And so they can come to either the pinning ceremony or the reception, or they come to neither or both. That's up to them. And so that's different this year. And the reason why we're doing that is to transition into the spring. Now, the vision for the spring is a 6 o'clock outdoor graduation at the state football stadium, and no summer graduation, and just go to summer and fall. And I don't know where the fall graduation would be. It may be small enough to go back indoors. I don't know. But the spring graduation is scheduled to be in the stadium. I have a personal aversion to that, being hit by lightning doing a high school graduation in the stadium, and that's the last one that we did outside in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. But, you know, if that's what he wants to do, it's certainly that's up to him. Now, what that means is there'll be no reception following the graduation ceremony starting in May. So what we're going to do as a School of Education, we're going to do something that afternoon prior to graduation, like at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. We're going to do, I don't know if it's going to be one big group or whether we're going to do departmentals, but we're going to recognize our folks, especially our certificate people and I guess I think we're going to roll pinning ceremony into that afternoon, recognizing our graduates. I don't know if we're going to do hooding for the masters, along with the doctorals. I think they're going to try to do the hooding for the doctorals. I don't know, because we haven't got it all worked out. And here's the part of it that makes it even more confusing, is a one-time only deal of students who are scheduled to complete in December. The summer. Students scheduled to complete in the summer in August, since there won't be an August graduation. can opt to come and walk in the May ceremony, even though they won't be completing. I see that as recipe for disaster, but that's what the president says he wants. And so I don't know how we're going to figure that out either. We haven't, we've got to sit down as a faculty on campus and figure some of these things out. I don't know that I'll have that information by the January meeting, but if we do, I'll certainly share it with you, or as soon as we get it figured out, I'll share it with you. Dr. Bull is with us now. I know he's working diligently on all these plans. That's above my pay grade. He's got to figure out for everybody, not just the MELS program. He's got to figure out what to do with the undergraduates, the finning. He's got to figure out what to do with the doctoral hooding, certificates. There's more certificate programs than just ours as well. He's got to figure out what to do with them, what we're going to do with masters. And I'm sure that his budget is I won't speak for him, but he's got to figure out what money and how to pull all this off in some reasonable amount of time. And so I'm quite sure that he's working diligently on that now. And so we'll certainly have a plan, and that we'll communicate that to you and to our students. But the kicker on that one is figuring out who could potentially be an August completer and getting word to them where they can come in May, as the president said that they would allow that this one time. Now, after this time, if you finish in August, you'll have to wait until December to participate in those. But this one time only, August people can walk in May. And so got to figure out how many people we would have coming. That's potentially going to blow our numbers up, having two groups at one time. So all that has to factor into the plans for the day. Dr. Bull, welcome. Would you like to piggyback on my completely confusing comments?
Is this about the May graduation?
Yes, that we're going to allow the August people as well. We're going to try to do something as a School of Ed for all these different groups and all of those. I told them we didn't.
Yes. What we're going to do is we're going to lay out some guidelines that would allow the students to who are potential summer graduates to graduate the option in May, and we're going to. There are a couple of things. GPA would be a factor. Also, the history of how students have performed in the program in terms of studying and finishing classes would be a criteria we look at. Also, they will have to have registered and paid for, and there should be no outstanding work or incomplete, and it will be the only course remaining for the summer that they would have to take. And also, the program coordinator would have the ultimate decision to make as to who they think would follow through and finish and who would not. So if Dale decides that X should not participate because of history of taking classes and dropping, taking and dropping, he could with a degree of certainty say this candidate may do the same, therefore we would not allow that student. So those are all decisions we're trying to work through at this time. So it would be left with you all as faculty members and adjuncts to give us the best representation and your recommendation for each candidate, because then they would have to register and take the class in the summer and then come back and say, my grandma is sick, my goldfish died and all this stuff, and I can't take classes in the summer now, and we've awarded them a degree technically, even though they may not have access to transcripts and diploma, but they have pictures they've put on Facebook, and they have a program that shows they were enlisted. They should have pictures showing they were shaking hands with the president. So all of these things, some people could even go vie for jobs that they're not eligible for, and that will bring all kinds of confusion, even though it's a one-time deal. So, but we have to be mindful. And thank you, Dale, for addressing that.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Well, that brings me to the next thing that Dr. Bull has been on top of, which is our winter staff development. And I'd like to publicly thank him for finding the money. Now, I don't know where he got it, but he's found the money for us to meet. And I see I've got a typo on this. That's probably my fault. We're going to meet face-to-face on Saturday, January the 4th at Tucker Center, 8:30 to 9, registration and breakfast, 9 to 9:30. Welcome, State of the School of Ed from 9:30 to 11. We're going to do the training on the new APA 7th edition, which is completely different than the existing. The major revision is they're going to be writing in first person. I did this and I did that rather than third person passive. It's going to be first person active. We'll also have some other things that we'll be doing at that time. Our folks, but we'll be focused mostly on APA since we are a writing intensive program. They're also going to be offering dissertation training, IRB training for folks who work in graduate. All those things will be until lunch, and then the MELS will meet from 12 to 3:30. I'm working on that agenda now. We'll be doing task stream, we'll be doing Zoom, we'll be doing Blackboard, we'll be doing some weekly schedules. I'm going to look specifically at the evidences. I also want to look at discussion boards, how we're using those. We'll look at, we'll be looking at, of course, all our statisticals. We'll have those for the fall by then, how each of our evidences is doing, any revisions or updates or reteaching on those. And so the normal things that we do. And so we'll be from 12 to 3:30. I would encourage you to be there all day. That APA training is relevant for all of us, as we all have to read and comment or grade these evidences. Being writing intensive, that's probably the most important thing to us. And so there's some more information here about accommodations. The Friday night, they'll pay for your accommodations and transportation reimbursement. Breakfast and lunch will be provided as part of the institute. If you commute and check in your hotel Friday night, they'll pay for your dinner, a whole $7. But you will need to confirm by December 16th by completing the survey below. I guess that's a Qualtrics survey. We're using Qualtrics now. So I've emailed all of this to you today. You should have this email that I'm looking at now. I sent it out as part of our faculty meeting agenda. So if you can come, we'd love to have you. So hopefully we can all get together and see one another face to face. And so again, that is on January 4th. On January 6th, shells will need to be available. That's the Monday, 1 week exactly before spring semester starts on the 13th of January. As always, I'd like for all of our shells to be up and running on Monday, January the 6th. I'd like for students to get started that week ahead and work a week ahead rather than a week behind. That helps with getting work in a timely manner as well. So please come to our winter staff development. I'm glad to see it back on the schedule again. Anybody have any questions on winter staff development?
Now, Dale, the new textbooks, can Seth get those out to us now so we can begin making those changes in our shelves?
There was some discussion in that in the faculty meeting last week, and I think they're working on that as we speak. But I will follow up with him on that. Again, I went by today. I did not catch him, unfortunately, but yes, I will try to see if I can get that information out to you. There is a link. We have a link that goes to that, and I will get you that link as well.
Okay.
But yes, we'll get you some of those materials ahead of time so that you can start looking at those. That's a great question. In the semester Blackboard and task stream. Blackboard and task stream, make sure that you're grading, turning work around quickly, especially here at the end. I had one student put 14 pieces of work in today. She did pretty much all of her discussion boards at one time. Well, but make sure you're turning that work around. Task stream, we're catching up. We're in really good shape, as Steve Marie was talking about. Those app tells are coming in from the new ones. We paced them a little bit quicker so they wouldn't all come in the last week. And so we've got 4 weeks to get them done rather than one. And so I'm pleased with that. thank you 601 instructors on that deal. That's worked out real well. But I did kind of a quick audit of all the different DRFs today. The work has been coming in well. We don't seem to have a lot of that cliff of out-hanging work that's going to just drown us here when the dam breaks, all these metaphors at the end. So, but make sure that we're grading, try to turn that work around in TaskStream 48 hours if possible. Blackboard, try to turn it around 24, especially this time of year. We need to know, and that leads me into the next one. We need to know who's going to be on, who we're going to be looking at for incompletes. Now, remember, they need to have completed about 75% of their work before they get an incomplete. We can't give incompletes to people who have done, half or less of their work this semester. And part of that is making sure that we're up to date on our grading, that we've graded everything they've turned in, so that we'll know who does and doesn't qualify for those incompletes. Hopefully, we won't have a lot. Y'all have been great about sending out all these emails. I've got a couple here. I've got one. I'm going to switch over here and go right back. Here's one from Danny. He sent just a few minutes ago, and I see all of you are sending them. There's Barbara sent one just a few minutes ago. And thank you for being here today, Barbara. I mean, y'all have been great for the last month. Y'all have been super about every Monday sending out, hey, you're behind this much. And so hopefully, again, we won't have an avalanche of work coming in right at the end in the holiday season. And we'll be able to serve our students as they need to be. And those, again, who will know who's going to qualify for an incomplete and who's not. And so that's always a big thing at this time of year. I have one point to make. I got a call today, and the person was absolutely correct. On the APTEL grading rubric, if you're grading APTELs, it says 13 competencies on task 4. That's 9. Let me say that again. As long as they have all 21 for the semester, that would be 13 for the APSEL, 9 for the APTEL. Now, if they owed more than that, if they shortchange you on the APSEL, that's one thing. But just make sure that they've got all 21 in when you grade that task 4, and we'll be good.
Dr. Lamb, and I can tell them the add-on licensure instructors, they are aware of that. So if it has gone through to TaskStream, they have already checked it on their end. So task 4 should be complete when it goes to TaskStream.
Yeah,
and there shouldn't be any questions about it.
They've looked at that. So if they only have 9, that's all they're supposed to have, because they had 13 the first half of the semester. We just want to make sure that they hit all 21 this semester. I worked with a student online today about setting up a competency folio. I was surprised that we had one at this late date in 601 who had not gotten their competency folio. So coaches, please go back and remind all of your 601s, make sure that they've got a competency folio. It's that time of the semester. They should be, most of them are completing the second of their evidences, or their first, if they're in regular 601, they're completing their evidences now for the semester. It's time for them to shift gears and fill out that competency folio, that proof that they did the work that they said they did. I had one today, and she had not selected the proper format. She had not pulled down the right template that we had. But make sure that they've all got their competency folio, that they have built it. We did that early in the semester, so that they can start loading their artifacts once they complete that second, or the first, or whatever their requirement, the first for the regular masters or the second evidence for the add-ons. Make sure that they understand they're not done until they put those artifacts in their competency folio. This is the time of the semester for them to do that, and remind them of where they can find them. And it's in your shelves where they can find those artifacts that show proof of that they've met their competency. Again, that's kind of like an IQ test. You can't just tell me you're competent. You have to show me you're competent. with those artifacts. And so that's why we have that separate folio.
Dr. Lamb, and
Come
tomorrow
back to
night,
the DRS.
tomorrow night during my class, I've asked you, you're going to be joining us.
Yeah,
So
I saw
I'm going
that.
to, and we're going to review that again very quickly. So to the other add-on licensure instructors, I will send that link, that link out to you and to your students tomorrow night after we get through, and just emphasize to them to make sure that they review it, because Dr. Lamb will go over that process one more time.
I'm going to go over it one more time tomorrow night. That'll be the third time this semester. But, you know, the more times you tell them, the more acquiescence, the more compliance you get. So I'm going to go do another session with them tomorrow night.
And if they'll go back to week 10 is when Dr. Lamb really went into great detail with it.
Yeah.
And you've got that link. So week 10 is something you can send to them as well.
Yeah. So we hit them early, middle, and late on making sure they've got that competency folio. And as you know, that's what really separates them. That keeps them from just turning in work that they made up, which is always, you know, in any writing intensive program, that's always the worry that you have, that they're just making this stuff up, that they're writing fiction. And that competency folio assures us and the state, in terms of licensure and potential employers, that hey, they actually did the work that they said that they did during their clinical experience. You know, I'd love for us to have the money to put people out there in the schools with them to watch them, but obviously we don't have the money to do that. So we have to depend upon that competency folio and them uploading those artifacts to make sure that they are doing what they say they're doing on that internship log of clinical hours. So that's a biggie. Is, you know, that's the proof. And once they have to start doing that, you know, that assures that that they're having quality clinical experiences. That's very important to us. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group before I do the benediction tonight? All right, Rod, we're gonna make the time limit. It looks like I don't talk too long on the benediction.
You're good. Dr. Lamb.
Yes.
Just want to remind all faculty members to encourage students to complete the SOIs.
Yes.
There's a little bit of an issue with the SOI send out on the subject line. They were trying to be cute over an assessment by saying, have you been naughty or nice? That was put in the subject line. It was all the emails sent defaulted to the spam. Students will never see it because of that phrase that is in there. So please encourage your students to go in and search to find that, because our goal is at least 75%. And this is the only access we have to adjuncts. You don't want the 3 or 4 candidates who do not like you to fill out the SOIs and give you a bad rating. We need to have the balance of the class. We know we all run a bell curve class where you have students who like you, students who don't like you, but those who like you tend not to fill it out. It's those who have issues most likely to fill it out. So have a new administration who's going to look at this critical in terms of adjuncts, appointments, and things like that. So I'm appealing to you to try to get as many people. And if you have problems with any student, please preempt that by writing to Dr. Lamb to let Dr. Lamb know there is a major issue or issues we may not have discussed that may pop up in the SOIs. Now you may have to defend some of those statements that students make, but it's better to have it ahead of time so I could diffuse it when it gets to leadership. I just want to thank you all for the amazing work that you do, and without you, we would not be shining the way we're shining in Ed Leadership and the MELS program and accreditation. So I just want to thank you all again one more time, and I hope I see you all for the celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bull. And that was my benediction tonight. You know that we were fully CAPE accredited for 7 years. Congratulations to all of you for all of your hard work and participation. We will have a celebration on Thursday, December the 12th. That's the day of the pinning ceremony at 12 noon at Tucker Center. You're all invited. I sent you an email. We'd love for those of you who can to come, and then obviously be there in the evening for our folks to get recognition. My final is Dr. Bull, make sure that you encourage your students to do your SOIs. Also, the completers will get a senior exit survey, hopefully also from Office of Institutional Effectiveness. And I have sent out using Qualtrics, and of course we have the hard copy Word document final reflection for our 605s. I'm getting a good many of the hard copies in. I also sent them a link if they didn't want to do it hard copy, that they could do it in survey format on Qualtrics. I sent that out last week as well. I've got a good many of those back. Please remember that's our longitudinal case study for the School of Education. We're 3 years into data collection on that one. It's very important for our accreditation that we encourage our students to fill those out. So SOIs for everybody, senior exit, and final reflection for our 50 add-on licensure completers. You're invited to join us on the 12th for both the pinning ceremony and for the celebration lunch and, of course, graduation. We'd love to see you all at any of those events. Please remember to mark your calendars for January 4th for our face-to-face at Tucker Center on that Saturday for our in-service day. I don't know when we will meet again. I guess in 2 weeks. If there's something that comes up and we need to meet again next Monday, I'm not thinking we will, because we're going to be on holiday. So I'm guessing we'll meet 2 weeks from today to kind of wrap things up. I'll send you the link and I'll see you then. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving. Drive safely if you're traveling. Thank all of you for being with us tonight. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Dr. Lamb, you've got a town hall on December the 2nd anyway with 601 students.
That's correct.
So,
And
we
so I'm
can do
doing
the
that at
SOI.
7.
Yeah, so we can talk about the SOI then with all of them. So.
Yep. Yeah, I've got a town hall on December 2nd, so I'll cover that again with them. All righty. Everybody have a good week. Thank you.
Great job, Dale.
Thank you. Fit in right under the wire.
I hear you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming. There's Dr. Crawford. Good night.